that you want on.
I didn't realize IDEX was at that company.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I actually really never did what they did.
You go to a vet clinic and they have a white box outside.
Okay, today is May 26th, and we are going to call to order the Topsham Community Center meeting, 5:16. Members absent, we have Steve Kessler, staff absent, Pamela Duke. No guests in the audience. Mark, is there any guests online?
There are none at this time.
Okay.
Comes one.
Oh, here comes a
Crowded room in here.
We'll take that back, we now have a guest.
I'm sorry I'm tardy.
That's okay.
We literally just started. So we have Ryan Holmes, select board member present. Okay, any changes to this agenda? Nope, none? Okay, good, moving forward. Okay, any individual committee roles to update and share? I will do mine when we get down to the item number 8.
We go right. I'll do it in a minute.
Oh, that's right.
Thank you.
So no communications or anything? Okay, so we'll move on from that. Building progress RFP update, Mark.
As those of you know that went, we now have the authority from town meeting, or the select board has the authority to enter into the right-of-way agreement. The fairgrounds attorney made a few changes to our draft, but ultimately look fine. So we've sent it on to the town attorney. And then once we get that back, we'll get it on the select board agenda to actually make sure the fair is happy with it too, but I assume they are because they sent us the last draft. We'll get on the select board's agenda to get the authority for them to actually sign it. And then we'll be ready on our end, and when the fair board's ready, they'll sign it on their end, and we'll have that taken care of.
What
Then
timeline?
I'd say the next month.
Cool.
The next select board meeting for them, they're just doing interviews the night of June 4th, so the next meeting they can take action, I think, will be June 8th.
Okay.
And kind of the other prong we've been working on is the trying to amend the TIF statute so that we could, I'm trying to remember last time I talked to you guys, but I've talked to Denise Tepler and Rafael Macias, and both are tentatively on board with providing legislation to change the TIF law so that you could use it for a community center. And my next step is I'm gonna go to Dan Stevenson, who's the head of the MRA, who used to work at the Department of Economic Community Development. And he offered to help me come up with the language that we propose in our draft. So I'm gonna do that, then get it to Denise and Rafael, and they can get that in the hopper for the legislature this fall. And then I haven't followed up with Mark recently, but I'll do that to see if he had an RFP for another one he could share with me, community center. For the design fit, I think he called it a 15% design is what the next thing is. So once I get that from him, either I or our new deputy public works directors become an RFP machine. I may enlist him in it, Josh Dennison, but we'll start to put a draft together, and the next step is for you guys to take it to the select board and get authorization to release it.
Can you say again, what's the 15%?
I think that's what he called the design, what the next phase would be. I think it's called a 15%
You're
design.
just taking that percentage of the next steps.
I think what it means is it's that percentage of the building. So for that particular site and things, so it's not the complete design, which
Yeah.
probably be $1 million, but
Yeah.
he said this is probably, I think he said the neighborhood of probably 200,000 to 300,000 is what it would be.
Mhm.
There is authority from last year's town meeting, we had a pool of $800,000 that select board could allocate towards a number of things. One of the things they could allocate it towards this, there's a lot of needs, so I'm not sure, and I'm not gonna make Ryan try to speak for anyone. I'm not sure what the outcome will be at the select board, whether they want to commit to that right yet. But the next step would be to take it to them and see if they'd like to or not. The other thing that could happen too is they may say, release the RFP and then see what the numbers come in. If they come in at $500,000, I can almost guarantee they'll probably say, yeah, we're not gonna do that right now. If they come in at 150 or something, they may say, let's go. I don't know what I can't do for them, but that would be the next step on that part.
I wanna say the way Mark described it was kind of like we're not picking the carpet, we're not picking but we're getting a general gist of what it would cost based on what we have so far. And that's how they kind of start the process of the design. So very bare bones design.
It's a schematics.
But it allows them to do better cost estimates and things like that, so.
Yeah.
I had never heard that 15% piece. Yeah.
And this would be, although I've mentioned Mark basically just as a resource for me, something to work from, but we'd be putting it out, so it would be any firm that wants to bid. I know we've had another company that's been asking to be able to bid on it too, so. And then the last piece is, because in my mind, I'm trying to figure out a way to fund this without significant tax impact. And the one I keep thinking is if we could get some type of a TIF involving this battery storage thing. Mr. Bisson stopped by probably 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago, and he showed me a piece of paperwork that they gave him that shows what part of the farm would be the battery storage thing. And it had ISO New England information on it, which means the company that wants to get the permits to do the thing at his site has actually filed their paperwork to try to get in line, to get an interconnection agreement, which means they're serious to want to do that. And then last week, they sent an email to Sky and myself, and they asked a bunch of questions about wetlands permitting, or if there are wetlands involved. And, so they're definitely interested in, and they've been following up with me, wanting to know the status of our zoning ordinance changes. And so they're definitely still interested in the process, which is a good sign. And Energy Committee's been working hard, trying to come up with some draft ordinance stuff to allow battery storage plant, but also have it be, people feel that it's safe. And one of the Energy Committee chair is a graduate of Vermont Law School, and they have a professor there that runs like an renewable energy clinic. And he has said between he and some students, they're willing to provide expertise to assist with drafting this for free. So they're supposed to get us a memorandum of understanding that I'm gonna hopefully get on the select board agenda for June 18th if the select board are interested. So that'll help move things forward with the ordinance piece. So if you ask me how we're funding this thing, I don't know right now. I just know that we're trying to bring all the pieces together that we can and try to figure out how to sort it out. So.
Do they have to have rezoning for where they want to put the battery farm?
Right now, it's not in allowed use in that zone, so we need to change the zoning code to make it allowed use. Just so happens, we're working on changing the zoning code, so we could potentially either include it with this recode process, or if for some reason that process didn't go forward, do something separate.
Do they need much land area to do it?
It wouldn't impact any of the existing actual farmed land. It's a
Right.
wooded piece that's behind the farmland, right next to the transmission lines. So.
Okay, cool. That's a lot of good progress, Mark, I think.
Yeah.
Cause we've been kind of like, we haven't been doing much lately, it's all kind of out of our hands, so, awesome. Do you have anything else,
I think that's all I got.
Okay, any questions for Mark, or? Okay, wonderful, thanks, Mark.
You're welcome.
So Pam's not here for the final report from Harriman and Associates, but, it is done. I think we just need to sit down and kind of piece out what we're gonna use for the smaller report. And then I think she had some minor corrections to do as far as spacing on it and everything, right? Is that what I remember from the last time, Leslie?
What I
We were talking
remember,
about it,
yes,
Yeah,
yes, we put stickies on all of the pieces to change. and
yeah,
I
some were
haven't
cut
seen-
off from the
Yeah.
copies,
Yeah, I
yeah,
haven't seen anything since
yeah,
then.
so it just needs to be cleaned up a
Right.
little, and then we'll be good to go. So, and have we, Mark, do you know, have we paid them everything? Are we all up to date?
I think so, I haven't seen it, but
Okay, cool. Okay, fundraising.
The number is up, sorry.
Oh, 7. Oh, no one noticed that.
It was in the last agenda too.
Changes to
Sorry,
agenda,
guys.
remember.
My bad.
No, it's all good, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so as you know, I have reached out to Project Evident and, to potentially work with us. Right now, they're pretty much at capacity, but what they suggested was to have a series of phone conversations over the summer at no charge, and to kind of get more information and to get us prepped for fall would be when they could take us on. And then they could come forward with a proposal as to what they could do for us and what the cost would be and everything. So I have been emailing with Cedric, and I think we would be kind of foolish not to take advantage of free help in that regard as far as AI. It's just gonna be a matter of our time. So he had sent me an email in regards to, we've been discussing scheduling. And I hadn't heard back from him, because I said, you know, a lot of our committee works during the day, and our meetings are typically 5:15 at night, and so what's your schedule like? And he did respond to the one I sent this afternoon. He says, I had it ready and never clicked it, so been there, done that. So what he says today is with regards to aligning on a schedule, I think it would be great to at least start with one 45 to 60-minute call in the second half of June, check in July, and then have 1 or 2 planning calls over the course of August and September, so we can have a full design completed in October. We will, of course, send items for all of you to review before meetings as needed, but wanted to make sure first that this baseline would work for you. So his initial email said that he would have some availability the week of June 8th and the following week, the 15th.
I can definitely be a part of the meetings, June 15th, that week would be better for me.
Okay. My initial thought is with these conversations is it should be, I think, at least 2 or 3 of us from the committee, because, you know, I don't mind initiating and setting everything up, but I want more eyes and ears on it, because people are gonna have questions, stuff that I'm not gonna think of, and you know, it's not a one-person show. So I know that your summer's gonna be fairly available, Leslie, if you want to commit to that.
Yep.
That would be great, and Kathy, I know you've been interested, I don't know if you wanna continue or what your schedule's looking. My question is, Mark, do you think that we should have either you or Pam as a town employee be a part of these, or do you just want?
probably good.
Okay, do you have a preference? Do we nominate Pam since she's not here?
Only thing is Pam's starting to strongly hint she may be retiring
Yeah,
towards the end of the year. So I might actually, let us know what it is. And
Okay.
even if Pam wants to, she's welcome to come.
sure,
Either Jeff or I might join too, just so that
okay.
we have continuity, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think based on prior conversations with him, that it'll be a lot of Zoom.
So we could take the conference room and,
Yeah, and I'm sure your schedule does your schedule get any better now that the town meeting's done, or?
as long as there's enough notice, I can usually work around stuff.
Okay, all right. Flexibility as far as times,
I'm open.
and if anyone else wants to pop in as well,
We could do a 4 o'clock or something if.
we do later in the day, yeah. I mean,
Depends on the day and time. If
Yeah.
you get, I would say don't schedule around me, but
Yeah.
if I'm available, I definitely can do it.
Okay,
We get our 2 new Bowdoin interns next Tuesday too. And
okay,
one of them, when we interviewed them, I was throwing out possible projects. And one of the things I threw out is assisting with trying to find a way to fund the community center, which might be either helping write or look for grants or things too. And they both seem to have showed some interest in that. So I don't know for sure what projects because we give them like a smorgasbord, they choose what they want. But I wouldn't be surprised if one or both might not be interested in helping with some of this effort. So if that happens, I might bring them to the meeting too.
Are they 5 days a week?
Yep.
Through the summer?
They, from June 2nd to usually around August 8th, so it's about 2 months. One of them is the editor-in-chief of the Bowdoin for incoming, so good writer.
oh, I think he was at that AI meeting.
Or she.
Or she.
Oh, she's the incoming editor.
Oh, she's the incoming, okay, gotcha, okay. Alright, okay, so I will respond to him then, and, we can at least get that first phone call in, and based on that, we can probably get a rough schedule in place afterwards, if that sounds good.
Can you remind me, the hope is that they're gonna be able to help us use AI to put together some of the things the consultants have previously said we really need to kick off a fundraising campaign.
Right.
And that's what they're gonna be able to do
Right.
with AI.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because they'll be able to, whatever information they feed it that we provide, it'll be able to help them draw all that information from however many avenues that AI goes down, I don't know, millions, and localize it to Topsham and go from there, yeah.
So, sorry, to further on, were you done? Did you have enough? Cause I also was kind of wondering if we could get a little bit more clarification about what the end result is that we're hoping to get from them. Like, is it a physical product? Is it the people we're going to meet? Is it, you know what I mean? I guess I'm just unclear exactly what we're hoping they're gonna provide.
So my initial response to that is based on talking with the other consultants, is we have to come up with people.
Yeah.
Right, we need names and to give them those avenues but what they can do for us is, give us the guidelines, how we approach things, based on the information that we have, how do we engage donors. So it's kind of would be like the feasibility report that we've talked about so often before with all the consultants. And they can narrow that scope down for us. They can help us if we wanted to do videos, you know, but it's basically drawing that all that information that, remember the 7 steps that the consultants had?
I do, I guess I'm still just
yeah.
a little unclear, like if I appreciate them like making videos, are they like, I guess I'm still just a little unclear, like if we're gonna be paying them, I don't even know how much money, exactly what they're going to be doing for us.
Right, and we've only had like conversations that just touch on it, we haven't
Yeah.
delved that deep.
Okay.
So I'm sure that I'm missing stuff,
Yeah.
Oh, no,
but from those conversations, then that'll get us to that point of
okay,
what they can provide for us.
and we're not paying for these phone calls.
No.
Yeah.
So,
And I'm mostly asking because I've been doing more research on capital campaigns and fundraising using major gifts. And one of the biggest things is how much time it takes. And the biggest part of why it takes so long is because even when you have the names of the people, you're not just gonna turn around and ask them for this huge gift.
Right.
You have to steward them along the way.
You have to build those relationships.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and so, there's different, I mean, a big part of finding these people is who do you know?
Yeah.
But another big part of this and what the consultants are paid for is going online and finding those individuals based on websites. Something like Donor Search is one of them, I think there's another one, I forget what it's called. But you put in your zip code and the parameters you're looking for, and it will then, it's a wealth screening tool to then give you names and addresses of people in your area, of the area that you specify. And so that is something that we could just do ourselves. And so I guess that was just something that I thought that while we are in kind of like this waiting time, if we wanted to, I mean, it's gonna cost money to these tools aren't free, but like if you go on and do it, then it's like, then we would have our own list of individuals. And then that's just, again, if we do use a company like Project Evidence, that would just be more information that we could then give to them and have them tailor whatever product they're gonna give to us.
And
So-
they may already have access to some of those websites.
Yeah.
So they could do that for us too.
It'd be a
I don't
great
know.
comparison to know, like,
Yeah,
with the research that you've already done and have that conversation to see what they have available.
right, yeah,
Cause what it's real ultimately seems to have come down to every time is to pay this much money for the consultant, when we couldn't say what we're gonna actually have at the end of it.
right, and technically they're not fundraising consultants.
Right, which is why I would like to understand
Yeah, they
what
would
they're
be
doing.
more of a guide.
Yep.
So it would be more like us taking this on ourselves.
Yeah, and that's the other piece that the research I've been doing, it comes down to that, is that we are the ones doing the work.
Right.
So,
Right, and like I have that Topsham business listing that I haven't touched in a while, and I looked at it the other day, and I'm like, man, I still need to get a lot of phone numbers and stuff. I said, maybe you're not gonna
There's
sit down
somewhere we can do
together
that,
and
for
just,
sure.
and she said,
Yes,
just at
for
least
sure.
get phone numbers and stuff. But that, again, would be a starting point to give to them. And because the more information that they can incorporate, the better it's gonna be for us in the long run. And again, I hear what you're saying, it's hard to say, you know, how are we gonna do this when we don't know X amount of dollars that we wanna raise,
exactly, well, yeah,
you know?
yeah, and specifically for Project Evident, I would just like to know, I'm looking forward to the phone calls over the summer
Yeah.
to understand what their fees are gonna be and what they're actually going to provide for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it might be clear at that very first meeting too,
Yeah.
so as many
Right.
people that can listen in on, because they seem very enthusiastic about giving us a guideline, an outline, and then finding out what we need from there, cause we're as confused as they were confused, but when it all comes together, I think we'll understand the path that they wanna take using the AI for fundraising, cause it is very confusing, that's not their focus.
Yeah.
Typically, but I'll be curious to see what they have to say in an open conversation with all of us.
Yeah.
On a more serious level, you know, not just pleasantries as we kind of had in the past.
I've been pretty serious with him.
Well, no, I mean,
But no, I know
yes,
what you're
but
saying, yeah.
we've been very chatty and very, you know.
Right,
It goes both ways, they're excited to work with us.
yeah,
Because they love this community and they're from Bowdoin College and, you know, they seemed really enthusiastic about working on this, but we're still kind of in the dark as to how AI will fit into our fundraising plan.
I think the other thing we have to remember too is we're very different from a company like, you know, the Y or BRW or somebody who would take on a capital campaign on Red Cross, because we're not really a separate entity. So we don't have like, you know, a board specifically for this and a chair and everything, where this is it. So again, that guidance that they can give us, because we are in a unique situation. You know, we don't have 40 employees that we can delegate things to and whatnot, so, again, it's worth having a conversation.
Absolutely.
Any
Yeah.
information we can get in guidelines is fantastic.
Say maybe one suggestion might be to come up with a list of specific questions we wanna have as many like answered during that initial conversation. Because I think this is fantastic, especially free script.
Yeah, and
But my other thought was, I don't wanna get all the way to October and find, to Heather's point, I don't wanna get all the way to October and find out it's not gonna be what we want. And
right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, the more info and the more clarification we can give them, the better that'll put us in a position come fall. And that decision if we wanna work with them, and if we can afford to work with them, 'cause I have no clue what that price is gonna come in at.
And I know this isn't exactly a brainstorming session, but I think one thing that I've heard us all say, and Pam and probably Mark included, is we need to put names on the list.
Yeah.
And I don't have names to put. Like, none of it, we've all thought about what wealthy people do we know, and then can we put them on the list? So I think that's truly the sticking point for us at this point, is we just don't know where to go.
But keep in mind, it's not wealthy, because we don't wanna categorize people like that. It's who you might know that can make a connection for you. So maybe you know John Smith and he knows, Joe Banker. And Joe Banker has a program that they do community donations. So it's making those connections, those contacts.
No, right, for whatever reason, I will say that I have a hard time asking anybody I know to donate money.
But you're not,
Or to be
You're
a
not.
connection,
you're
yes,
not
I
to
know.
get started.
But that's what my sticking point is, and I don't know.
Yeah,
who
and
for.
that's one
So
thing they'll
that's
help
one of
us
the,
with.
yes, that would be my number one for asking for help with.
They'll help us with that phrasing and that approach,
Yeah,
that script.
right. That makes sense, that
Yeah.
way I could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
how do you soften this so that you're not point blank saying, give me money, you
Right,
know?
right,
Yeah,
absolutely.
okay.
Again, just keep in mind those connections.
Mhm.
That's what a lot of it
Yeah.
comes down to.
Yeah.
You know who knows somebody who could potentially help.
Yesterday at the Memorial Day ceremony, I saw the gentleman who was one of the leaders of the original Highlands Homeowners Association. He was asking again about the community center, what's going on with that. So I think there's definitely some people there that would help
Right,
identify it and work on it.
for sure, yeah. So, I would request, based on what Allison said, start putting some thoughts together and questions, and maybe get them to me by, I don't know, let's say. But if we're gonna meet with him the second week of June. So how about if we say, get them to me by, June 12th, that Friday, that gives you a couple weeks. And I'll see if he can meet sometime the week of the 15th, since that was one of the, options that he gave me. Does that sound good?
That sounds good.
Even if it's just a comment, just anything to,
The only bad day for me that week is the 18th, I think. Anything else I can make work with this.
okay. I'll jot that down so I don't forget, Mark.
And if Kim, can you also send out a reminder that Monday?
Earlier in the week is better, that week,
The
like
week
Monday,
of the
Tuesday, Wednesday.
15th, you mean?
Hmm?
The week of the 15th, you mean?
I mean, if we're gonna have the questions in to me
Oh,
by the 12th,
So maybe send it at the 8th.
just or something of like that week, just to say, hey, don't forget, we wanna collect the questions.
Yeah, that would be great.
I would say no 19th for me either, so it'd be the early beginning of the week, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of that week,
Okay, just,
or the end of the other week.
Kathy, do you have any dates that week that you have any conflicts in?
No.
Okay. You sound very interested. How does that week look from you?
So I'm happy to join and I would love to hear what they have to say. I work until 3. I could probably join by the phone, maybe, depending what time it is, if it's before them, but if it's in the evening, I think most of those days should work.
Could you do it for me?
Like a 4 o'clock?
I could, I do think that there's, sorry, let me look up one thing. Or
While she's looking,
Yeah.
Brian has a question.
Is it all right to ask a question?
Absolutely, go ahead, Brian.
I'm intrigued to know a little bit more about I don't know if it's an individual or a company that is utilizing AI to, I'm assuming, help fundraise, is that what it is?
So, it's project evident. And, let me just pull up their website real quick, because I don't want to misspeak. They're actually based out of Boston, and they're the ones that put on the session at Bowdoin College for, AI and fundraising. And, so they work with nonprofits, school districts, policymakers,
To use AI to
to
form
use
everything.
AI.
So they
to
just typing
strengthen
prompts into
everything.
AI and
Yes.
That's what it sounds like.
getting paid to do that? And we can't write those prompts ourselves?
I don't know anything about AI,
Well, I'm just saying, because I just typed in a few prompts myself
That's
and
why I'm
got like
asking
a
the
million
question.
I got a million answers and a million ideas.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if paying for someone to use AI is wise when AI is getting simpler and simpler and smarter and smarter and faster and faster. But the reality is, I think I use AI a lot. That's why I'm intrigued by
Yeah.
it. And AI has been a godsend in my life. I mean, it's been something that I've been able to generate revenue from doing nothing, you know, and I mean, it's funny to me that people pay someone to use AI when you could just open it up and try, and you'd be surprised what you get out of the deal. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not, but it is really about what prompt and what question you're asking, what information you're putting in will help you get the information that you want out. But I mean, it's so freaking smart. It's so smart that it does everything. And I mean, I just asked a question, if I wanted to build a $50 million community center in Topsham without raising the tax burden, what would be the best way to go? And it gave me like a 10-page prompt of, this is what I would do if I were you, kind of situation, and forming community partnerships and maybe having a nonprofit started in lieu of kind of like the way the library does their thing. And the nonprofit is what actually does most of the fundraising, because they have greater access to grants than a municipality would, and then finding other maybe tenants of the building with other small type of businesses that you lease out to the building that you're generating revenue, maybe bonding against the revenue itself instead of to the taxpayer. But I mean, it gave me like 20 ideas already off the bat to raise money for this, other than just a capital campaign of asking people for money, because revenue is gonna be the next big conversation. I mean, if you pay for it, it's still gonna cost money to run the place, and if we can make it so it doesn't, that's the best. The hard part is we're a municipality. My mind operates like a business owner always, so it's always about making money. How do we offset the cost, you know, how are we not operating in the red? And that's kind of the big thing I feel like that's on everybody's mind, is operating, not making profit, because we can't really make profit off of it, can we?
We can have retained earnings that can go to tax, you know.
So potentially we could, and there are ways to do it, but ultimately, what I think that works into is regionalization of this, because if we're talking about just Topsham, it's only 9,500 people or 9,800 people in this town. And to make it feasible and work, it's almost like it has to be regionalized a little bit in order to attack the BIW traffic with BIW that they'll pay, or Midcoast Hospital, or some of the other big corporations that are around, if there's other things. And then there's a million different target areas of what types of grants are out there. You know, you can get grants for ADA compliance that will pay for all of the ADA stuff, you know, and other small little things, but there's a lot to it. And the irony behind it is it will research the grants for you. It will apply to the grants for you. All you have to do is print the application out. You know, it's kind of funny, but I recently took on a new role, and I didn't even apply for the role. ChatGPT applied for me.
Wow.
And in 15 minutes it was done, and in 6 hours I got a phone call. So it was kind of, I was just playing around and trying new things, and I was like, oh, this is good. And then when you go through a month of interviews, and then they're like, here, this is how much we're gonna pay you, it's like, oh, initially wasn't really going after it. I was just trying to see what ChatGPT would do, but then you're like, oh, I might as well take it, kind of thing. I mean, there's more to it than that, but
Right.
it's not as hard as people think it might be. It's just spending a little bit of time, and if you're gonna spend 3 or 4 hours on the phone over the next month or so, that same 3 or 4 hours using AI of sorts or researching AI might be a better method. You might get further, and you might do it at your own pace. That's really all I'm suggesting.
And for me, that's why I am interested in the first phone call, because I would like to understand what they're actually going to be providing for us.
And I understand what you're saying, and I appreciate that, and what I would say is, I think it kind of goes back to, oh God, not the last charge, or maybe the charge before that, when our requirements were investigating how we can fund this without raising the tax rate.
Right.
And obviously, us doing fundraising Yeah, bake sales and golf tournaments are nowhere near that, so that's when the capital campaign came into it. And then as we further discussed that and researched it, we're like, we don't have the experience. So then we went looking for the consultants, and then we kind of got sticker shock because you're paying for their expertise, which we don't have.
Right.
And again, because we're such a small, limited committee, you know, we decided, okay, what else can help us to reach our goal? And, you know, I could really take the time, I think, to learn more about AI, but, you know, maybe I'm still old school, still makes me a little nervous, to be honest with you.
It should.
It
should.
And I was hoping that we all can look up chat, whatever it is, and have that list of 100. But I was hoping in one of their free sessions, they would give us guidance as to which way was the best one to use. Which sentence is the best one to send to one of our 200 businesses in Topsham?
Right.
So they're not just seeing something and throwing it away, but it's catching their eye. That's what I'm hoping for, is their expertise on which one of those millions that you've come up with or noticed on the computer, which one would capture their attention and maybe help us dive into, yes, that would be really lovely if you helped us with that. Does that make sense?
It's funny that AI is so new.
Yeah.
The word expertise in AI is a fallacy to begin with. When you ask that question, they're gonna take that literal question, type it into whatever system they're using, and they're gonna ask that same question. AI is gonna give them the answer to give to you. That's the irony behind AI. It's too new for people to be experts in it. People are just abusing the system at this point. It's kind of like when internet came out, people started building websites. And then Google came out with build your own website for nothing, and then it was easy, right? I mean, we're at the very beginning stages of a brand new technology that's wild and crazy and is gonna change every one of our lives in ways that we don't even understand yet. So that, I mean, to me, it's just the reality of the situation, because I do know, and I'm not complaining about it, but we do spend a lot of money on consultants for their expertise, and the bill keeps going up and up and up, and as time goes on, we just are gonna spend more and more with little to no results other than paper, and saying this is your next step, and by the way, that's gonna cost you 10 times the amount that you've already spent. And every time we move forward, it's gonna start costing more and more and more, to the point where we have to make the realization of how realistic is this, and is it worth spending $1 million on a plan if we can't find a way to reduce the tax burden? Because the tax burden for the people it's going up. I mean, we hear it on the board nonstop, and to Mark's credit, I don't think it's really the town. The town does a very good job at being fiscally responsible. It's the other outliers that are uncontrollable to the town, like the school district and the county, that we have to contribute to, and we really don't have much of a say in.
Right.
And if their trends keep continuing, you know, in 5 years, we're looking at $100 million school budget divided by 4 towns. And if Harpswell doesn't like that and pulls out because it's more cost effective for them to charter kids to a different school, well, guess what Topsham's rate's gonna be?
Yeah.
It's gonna go way up. And, you know, those are things that I'm not gonna suggest that those are gonna happen, but they're possible. I mean, I would say it's plausible to happen in having conversations with selectmen in Harpswell, because they're looking at those ideas right now, they're fed up. And that's the uncontrollable part about politics, unfortunately, in the municipalities, but they're very real things that I think open conversations do better with than just hiding behind not having that conversation at all. So I'm interested in the AI thing. I really am. I do think that there's a lot to it, and I think it can be very beneficial, and you can get a lot more results for it. And
The way that they met this group is the McKean Center, which is where we get our voted interns from. You had these graduates that started this thing. They put on a free session for people on campus, and they said, any of your nonprofits, communities that take our interns, you're welcome to come if you like. So I threw it out to this group, and they said, I would like to go learn, and Kathy and Lynn and Steve went. They had some discussions with the people there, and so if we don't know what the fee would be, I suspect the fee may not be that bad. is ask the questions, figure out, we'll see if it's worth it or not.
I mean, it's always worth asking, I just wanna, I'm
Right.
putting that so that you ask those questions to them.
Right.
When they start telling you they're experts in the field, you can question that. And what platforms are they using or what programs are they using? Because every software program that we have now, Adobe or anything else that we use, has some form of AI system already built into it. Google already has AI built into it. When you do a Google search, the first thing that pops up is the AI response. So it doesn't matter, I mean, it's just common programming with AI. It may be such that they're using a software program that has AI built into it, not just a chatbot that you would use.
Yeah, and they told me the name of it and I don't remember. And I know they mentioned Claude, they're not using Claude.
I wrote it down at home.
Yeah, I don't have it with me.
Gronk?
No, just as an FYI too, they can also help us with grants and, I lost my train of thought. There's two other things they can help us with in addition to guidelines for this. Gosh. That's the other
It'll come to you when
grants.
you leave.
Yeah, it will. But as I'm sure you know too, we've discussed, in previous meetings, potentially bonds, keeping the tax impact minimal. Getting larger donors, working potentially partnerships, potentially Y, maybe even the Highlands, maybe something hospitals, I don't know. So we're trying to grasp from every area that we can think of.
Yeah.
And how it'll come together, I don't know, but I feel that this would be beneficial to at least have these conversations, and then when we get to that point in the fall, maybe they can teach us and we won't need them.
I see it as we meet and then we do some work and then we meet again and we just keep moving forward. I find sometimes on AI, I just kind of get loopy, like I get caught in loops. And I think the interns are gonna be great. If we can get the interns,
Yeah.
because this is gonna be second nature to them and they'd have the modem connection, then I think we could really,
I think it would be
Move forward.
interesting to have the first meeting. And then have us be able to come back together as a brainstorming session. And maybe see, maybe one of us do what Ryan just did and see what our 10 pages come back. And how does that compare with the conversation we had with them? And then see, because ultimately I think what we're trying to do right now is build out what the plan is gonna be. And how do we wanna go about it? Because right now just saying we're gonna fundraise for this imaginary building is kind of overwhelming. So how do we plan and how do we make the most use of our time for the time that we are volunteering? And so I think if we're able to compare what they have to say compared to what maybe we pull out of a chatbot and do a comparison.
Yeah.
And was what they brought to the table so much more than what we could have done on our own? And then we can decide if we wanna continue to meet with them.
Yeah.
That might be my suggestion.
maybe we try to meet here at 4:00 on one of the days. Just do that.
And I do
So then
appreciate
what's
We
next?
could have the first meeting here at 4:00
Oh, with
on Zoom with
them,
them,
yep,
and that way maybe.
And Lynn, I do wanna thank you for keeping up the conversation with them and keeping them
Yeah.
engaged, especially when they said that they didn't think they were gonna have the time. Like, I know you've been doing a lot of work to keep that
Oh.
conversation going, so.
no problem. I'm wondering if they may have, I would encourage you to at least look at their website, but I'm just wondering if they might have video or something too, like what they showed us at this session. But we can go into that later, so.
I didn't mean to derail the conversation you
No,
were on,
you didn't.
I was very curious about it, and I do think there's a benefit to it.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of benefits that are just unrealized because it's just very new, and there's so many things that we just don't know about it,
Right.
but if you just ask, you find out.
Yeah,
That's the-
absolutely, and we appreciate your input because, as a committee, I think, I don't know if I can speak for all of us, but, it's really challenging when you get to this aspect of it.
It is.
Even just from my past experience, working at a financial institution, people get very strong emotions when it comes to money.
We are, and part of the reason I brought it up was because we're getting that now.
Yeah.
We're getting a big, I think that there is a large percentage of our community that would love a community center. In fact, I don't know anybody that wouldn't, if it was free, 100% of our community would say that it would build our community, it would make it stronger, it would make it better. The money is where people get divided, and if it's gonna be a huge tax burden combined with the school's tax burden and the county's tax burden, I think it's a quick no for a lot of people, and I would prefer that we have a community center, you know, and I think that there's ways to do that, and even if we phased it out, where the first phase was more, let's get people to lease the parts of the building in phase one so that it's at least revenue generating, and let those people operate certain parts of it outside of this, you know, the town's role, maybe the nonprofit runs that part. And then a few years later, after more campaigning and more raising, we enter phase two, where we build in the next phase, and then you can build in more revenue generating programs so that it's not so burdensome right away off the bat. But I mean, there's so many different ways to do it, I suppose, and ideally you gotta rely on the experts to pick that one out of all the different ways that it can be done, but it can be done, I know it can be done.
Right.
And you guys are doing God's work, because it's not easy. You guys are getting to a point now where the money conversation, I feel like, is becoming more and more relevant.
Yeah.
Because we're moving along, and when we entertain those conversations, things are gonna get to different places, but at least my voice, from what I will say constantly, is that a community center would benefit Topsham greatly. I understand the concern of the financial stress behind that. I don't want my taxes going up the way they've been going up any more than they do, and I'm sure a lot of people feel that way, so if there's a way to do it, we'll do it,
We'll find it.
we'll make it happen.
No, we appreciate that. And I think too that people are getting probably maybe a little panicky about what they're hearing through the school budget and all the renovations and everything that they have on the table.
Yeah, because they also have their capital improvements plan that's going to increase another $50 million that they're gonna have to bond out. And, you know, that's gonna be another 10% raise right off the bat for the next few years, just like when the school got bonded.
Yeah.
So if all of those things get approved, I mean, we have no control over that. It's just a reality. I mean, for or against it, it doesn't really matter. It's just the reality of the situation that people in Topsham deserve that live here currently should be priced out of living in the community that they live in now.
Exactly. Mark, can you tell me, like, in a brief nutshell, which I know is asking a lot, the county budget, well, what did they base that on? How did they arrive at, like, what our share is going to be?
It's based on valuation of the town. So Topsham's valuation compared to the whole, I think ours is about 20% of the value of the whole county. And then Baths and Phippsburg actually gets a big one because of all the oceanfront property too. But it's purely based on valuation, whereas the school budget or our share of MS 8075 is half based on valuation and half based on number of students.
Okay. Alright. Again, things you have no control over.
So if you actually look, it costs Harpswell a lot more than us to educate a kid, because they have a lot fewer kids, but a lot bigger valuation than any of the other two towns.
I think their cost per pupil is around $25,000 a kid to send to school, doesn't matter what grade level, 25. Topsham costs $16,700 to send a kid to school for 1 year. Pretty soon the cost will be higher than a private school.
Wow.
But as their kids go down at Harpswell,
Yes,
it's more tempting to say,
and as
let's leave
enrollment
the school district and
decreases,
just pay for.
that's a them thing, I don't wanna,
Yeah,
I get on
yeah.
those tangents too often, but
Yeah.
it's a reality, it's just a reality that we all have to face, and we have to find solutions, because it's either we have a problem and we make excuses for it, or we find solutions and we execute.
Right.
I'm more of a solutions guy.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, thank you for coming to the meeting tonight, that's
Yeah,
one thing,
we-
I think for me, it just really helped to open my eyes to things that maybe we hadn't considered because we were so close to it. And like we were so focused on the next step and the next step, so I really appreciate your insight on the AI
Yeah.
piece, because we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
Until you know, that's
Until you know it,
until you know it, that's the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. I will say, fun fact, I was looking at a piece of property in Pittsburgh. A third of an acre, a house is about the same amount of square feet as mine. They're in the water. Our taxes are half of mine. Half of mine on the water. Just interesting, just saying.
Fun fact.
Fun fact.
So school
I need
district-
waterfront in Topsham.
What school district does Pittsburgh go to?
You go to bed.
Yeah.
It must be per bath, right?
They have an elementary school.
That's
Or
it.
does.
That house was on the market for 1.4 million. Yeah, insane.
But there's so many other, like, just like Harpswell, there's so much coastline in Phippsburg. There's
Yeah.
a lot of really fancy houses that are paying a lot of.
Yeah, I mean, I can pay the
Well,
taxes, I
money.
can't afford a house there. Go figure. Anyway,
Ask AI.
right? I would say, Lynn, get a job.
So do we agree for next steps is to at least have the first meeting with Project Definite? We'll all submit questions that we think based on tonight's meeting and based on our own understanding that we wanna make sure to ask them. And if you, I know you already wrote down a bunch of potentials, if you do it on Monday or Wednesday at 4 o'clock, I should be able to be there. I wouldn't be able to be there on Tuesday.
Okay.
And then we can potentially regroup right after that and see what we wanna do for next steps based on that conversation.
Sounds good, and that schedule also works for mine.
Okay, cool.
Is there anything we missed in that we think we should address now?
Possibly just an update to the interns about that upcoming meeting, but you can do that, or we can do that? If they're gonna join us.
Us
Yeah.
as their project?
Yes.
Even if they don't select you, I'll probably try to get them to come anyway.
Okay, yeah.
Cause we're trying to have them experience all the different types they go with.
Okay.
So if you're able
Okay.
to schedule the time, then
Yeah.
we'll send it to Mark and he'll see if there's a room.
Yeah, I'll email and then see if he can do Monday or Wednesday at 4.
Okay.
Okay, we put that to bed now, fundraising? Assuming no one has anything else. Awesome. Review minutes of April 27th meeting.
I move to adopt the minutes from April 27th.
I second it.
All in favor? Aye. Wonderful. Okay, Heather, would you like to review the follow-up action steps?
Absolutely, I think Allison did a fantastic job. A couple minutes ago.
We'll just make it official.
But it's basically for everyone to prepare their specific questions based on tonight's conversation and meeting, and to send them to Lynn by June 12th. If Kim could kindly send a reminder on June 8th, for everyone to do that. That was a high level summary, but yeah, does that sound good? Yeah.
Anything else?
Unless I missed something, I didn't have anything else.
I think Lynn to schedule a meeting with
Oh, yes.
Project Evident.
Yeah.
That too.
The 17th is best. But, if everybody's going, I'm realizing that we does have some things.
Okay.
17th at 4 would be amazing.
Wait,
That's Wednesday.
that's Wednesday, so Wednesday's a better day for you, okay. Well, I'll give him Wednesday as a first option, and if not Wednesday,
Monday I
I'll
could
say
be here for
Monday.
45 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, alright, well, he said about 45 to an hour, so, okay, wonderful. Next meeting, date and time. So this meeting was late in the month. That's off of our schedule.
Could we do like the 22nd, because then we'll have that meeting behind us. Works back on Monday.
That works for me.
Yeah, works for me.
Mark,
Checking the calendar.
Will you be caught in almost last day of school stuff?
yeah. Not Leslie. When is the last day of school?
Which one, 23rd?
Really? Oh, sorry.
our offices will be closed on the 22nd.
Again?
That's Friday. I was looking at the calendar too.
Looks like,
It's June 19th.
For Juneteenth, it's closed on 19th, yep.
yeah, the 22nd, says on the big calendar there's something going on, but I don't see it down here, so it looks like it should be okay.
Okay, so we'll say June 22nd, 5:15.
I'll text Steve. Just to say, that's when it is.
What time is that?
5:15.
So I was thinking.
Anything else? Any motions?